So what are we talking? We're talking about how we met each other?
Cleveland? How did you meet each other? How did you start working together with your labs?
Well, she forced me to date her. RNA is an acronym for ribonucleic acid, and it is an analogous molecule to DNA. And DNA is genetic information that's used to convey genes. And what DNA does, basically, is it is made into mRNA, or RNAs. And these RNAs transmit information from DNA into other areas of the cell where it produces protein or does other forms of work.
So the important thing is when genetic information is disseminated in the cell is you have an intermediate in RNA. And while RNA for a very long time was ignored because genetic information is stored in DNA, I think it's become recognized, particularly in the last 20 years, the importance of RNA and maintaining RNA in the cell, making sure that it's copied correctly and that that information is accurate in order to then disseminate it into protein information. So the work in my lab is particularly interested in when mistakes are made in generating your copy of RNA. And so we're really interested in how the cell recognizes when mistakes are made and how they then go about eliminating that mRNA and making sure that it doesn't cause downstream mistakes.
So one of the new and emerging themes in biology today is that we're using more and more big data. And big data has become sort of it's a buzzword, but it also has become very important in the type of analysis we do. And so it requires that we biologists have to interconnect it with other disciplines, such as computer science, in order to understand and manipulate the types of data sets that we're now achieving.
But the advantage of that is being able to look at all the messages in the cell at the same time. And so you're processing information at parallel that we could never do in the lab with individual experiments.
So Christian and I are both basic scientists within a school of medicine. And so a lot of times people ask us, why do you have basic scientists within a school of medicine? And there's really one very important reason, is that all medical discoveries are really built on the backbone of basic discoveries.
So one analogy I like to use, particularly for high school students who come in and start working in the lab and maybe don't have a very deep background of gene expression and molecular biology, is we're trying to fundamentally understand how a car works, for example, as a parallel to how the cell works. And so if we understand how the car works, we can understand when the car stops working. Almost all disease is a mis- or dysregulation of gene expression. And so if we understand how genes are turned on and off, that's critical. And so that's been a large focus of research in the last 30 or 40 years, but it really focused on DNA for a very long time and on proteins. My first real interest in kind of chemistry and biology and genetics was in high school. When I first started learning a little bit about biochemistry, the chemistry of biological molecules, and that continued into college. And what really sparked my interest is an opportunity I had as an undergrad to do research in a lab. I had this misconception that working in a lab, I'd be in isolation, it wouldn't be a very social environment, very different than what I experienced. And I think my summer research opportunity as an undergrad really cemented my commitment to wanting to be a research scientist.
When I went to college, I think like a lot of young people, I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. And for reasons that I still can't remember to this day, I took a genetics course as a freshman. And that was it. I mean, that really just changed my life because, I mean, it was shocking to me that people knew what this stuff did. I mean, it was one of those sort of illuminating experiences where suddenly I realized that there's a lot of knowledge out there that can be gained.